When Chu Jiang's donation reached 10,000 yuan, he accidentally bound the pickup system, which can trigger the pickup reward as long as he contacts people. Cash, luxury homes, luxury cars, and various skills can all be picked up. You have picked up 1 billion yuan in cash. You have picked up a set of Tang Chen's first-grade large flat layers. You have picked up a Konisegg. You have picked up a stock market prediction card. You have picked up 10% equity of Penguin Group. Chapter 1. Opening Binding Pickup System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the evening, at the entrance of Moda University, a super cool supercar attracted many college students who were out searching for food. Chu Jiang sat in the driver's seat, looking through the car window at the college students who occasionally looked towards him, feeling quite comfortable in his heart. Once upon a time, he never dreamed that he could drive a supercar worth tens of millions to the entrance of Magic University to pretend to be a force. Just yesterday, when he donated up to 10,000 yuan on water drop fundraising, he actually linked it to the system. Pickup system. As long as someone comes into contact with oneself, there will be some suspended transparent balls that only he can see out of thin air. Chu Jiang can pick up those items as long as he contacts the suspended transparent ball. After binding the system, he has collected 100 million yuan in cash through contact with people, including a Lamborghini Bull, a Porsche Panamera, and a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. The most exaggerated thing is that he picked up 3 school district buildings. A total of 300 school district houses. Surprisingly becoming rich, this joy naturally needs to be shared with family members. Now he comes to Moda University because his own sister Chu Yue is studying here. He came over suddenly today with the purpose of giving his sister a surprise. The family conditions of Chu Jiang's family are not very good. After all, their parents have a low level of education, with some elderly and some young, making it difficult to support a large family. Fortunately, both Chu Jiang and his sister are very competitive and have been admitted to university. Especially my younger sister Chu Yue, who attended the Magic City University in 211985. Chu Jiang just graduated this year, but he only attended a third-rate university. In the city where talent is abundant, it is difficult for him to find any good jobs. However, everything is getting better now. Sitting in the car, Chu Jiang was full of thoughts, and it had already been more than 10 minutes before he knew it. When he drove here, he called Chu Yue and said he came to see her, right at the entrance of their school. It's been over 10 minutes now, and Chu Yue should be arriving soon. Speaking of Chu Jiang and his siblings, they are really role models for their peers in the village. Not only are they obedient, sensible, and have good grades, but their appearance is also at the level of school flower and school grass. Chu Jiang is fine, after all, he is a boy and can't afford any losses. But after all, Chu Yue is a girl, and most of the time, her pursuers are pursuing her beauty. Although Chu Yue has clearly stated that she did not fall in love during her college years, there are not many suitors behind her. When Chu Yue received the call from Chu Jiang, she was reading a book in the library. When she heard her brother come to their school to see her, she also put down her book and came towards the school gate. It was only a 7 or 8 minute walk from their school library to the entrance, but just as she walked to the central square of the school, she was stopped by one of her suitors. Shenhao, a junior majoring in finance, is the president of the school's student union. He met Chu Yue during the recruitment process of the student union. Since then, Shenhao has been pursuing Chu Yue. However, Chu Yue also made it clear that she did not have any romantic relationships during her college years, so she directly refused him. But how could Shenhao give up so easily? Every now and then, they gather around Chu Yue. He is in his 3rd year this year and will be interning outside in a month. Thinking that it will be difficult to see Chu Yue again in the future, he wants to take advantage of this time to strengthen his offensive. He planned a confession event, hoping to confess to Chu Yue in broad daylight and in front of everyone. Based on his understanding of Chu Yue, she wouldn't give herself face in the presence of so many people. However, he clearly did not have enough understanding of Chu Yue. Lu Jianhao, let me tell you again that I didn't date during my college years. Please don't play these tricks again in the future. Chu Yu snatched the bouquet of flowers from Lu Jianhao's hand and threw it heavily onto the ground. Being publicly rejected by Chu Yu, Lu Jianhao's face immediately darkened. Watching Chu Yu walk towards the school gate without looking back, Lu Jianhao bit his teeth hard. A despicable woman, what a despicable person. Sometimes, it is normal for love to lead to hatred. Moreover, Chu Yu refused himself in front of so many people, which shattered his face as the president of the student union. Chu Jiang didn't see Chu Yu coming for a long time, so he also got out of the car and prepared to enter the school to see what was happening. However, as soon as he got off the car, he felt countless pairs of eyes staring at him, which made him feel a bit uncomfortable for a while. I'll go. How handsome. This is the most handsome second-generation rich I've ever seen. The supercar he's driving is a Lamborghini Bull, right? I really envy them for being so young that they can drive tens of millions of supercars. You're really handsome, my mom. My mouth is almost watering. I wish I were his girlfriend. He looks so handsome, even if he doesn't have money, I would be willing to do it. As a big man, I think he's so handsome. I feel like it's unfair. Why can he be both handsome and wealthy? After all, Chu Jiang came here with a nearly 10 million Lamborghini Bull, and he is so handsome that it is difficult not to attract the attention of those around him. Hey, can't you guys stop being obsessed with flowers? They're obviously waiting for someone. I just wanted to think about it. How could someone with such conditions look up to me? Not far away, two girls from the same dormitory also leaned together and whispered, occasionally glancing at Chu Jiang's side. At the same time, Chu Jiang saw Chu Yu walking towards the school gate. Here. Chu Jiang waved his hand towards Chu Yu as he walked by and shouted. Upon hearing Chu Jiang's voice, Chu Yu, who was originally feeling a bit upset, immediately smiled when she saw her older brother. The onlookers around looked in the direction of the Chu River and happened to see Chu Yu walking towards this direction. Isn't that Chu Yu? The school flower of the sophomore business management department. My goddess. I heard that Chu Yu told all her suitors not to date in college. Do you think this wealthy second-generation will be waiting for Chu Yu? Can't I? My goddess is not the kind of person who admires vanity. I can't say it well. I think the reason why Chu Yu refuses everyone may be because they have better choices. If it were me, I wouldn't have chosen a college student who is still in the ivory tower. Just as they were gossiping, Chu Yu had already walked out of the door and walked straight to Chu Jiang's side. She then affectionately took Chu Jiang's arm and said, "How come you have time to come and see me today?" Chu Yu's action directly shattered the heart of the otaku who worshipped her as a goddess. See, I got it right. That wealthy second-generation person is Chu Yu. The goddess Chu Yu actually held on to the arm of the wealthy second generation, looking so affectionate. I feel like I've been heartbroken, my heart hurts so much. Why? Isn't Chu Yu goddess saying that college doesn't involve dating? For a moment, Chu Jiang and Chu Yu became the focal points. Chapter 2. Brother, did you really win 3 billion? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Yu hasn't seen Chu Jiang for a while, so her behavior and actions have become slightly more intimate. But after all, they are siblings, so what's the problem with that? However, the onlookers were unaware of the truth and thought that the school flower Chu Yu had found a wealthy second-generation man who opened a Lamborghini as his boyfriend. Bad news travels fast. For a moment, everyone in the entire Magic City University was spreading this news. After all, it is the internet age, and the speed of this news dissemination is quite fast. School posts, forums, and some class groups are all spreading this news crazily. Heavy news. Our sophomore pure school flower Chu Yu just met a wealthy second-generation Lamborghini at the school gate. I'm going. It's really fake. Goddess Chu Yue. Didn't she say college doesn't mean dating? Not dating is fake, mainly because you don't have a Lamborghini. Has even the goddess Chu Yue fallen? Mom, I no longer believe in love. Just now at the central square, I saw Lu Jianhao confessing his feelings to Chu Yue, but Lu Jianhao was fiercely rejected by Chu Yue. I thought Chu Yue was really innocent, but... Hee, what a slap in the face. I also saw it. Mr. Lu's face was black, tsk, but now it seems that fortunately, Mr. Lu was rejected, otherwise. The fact that Chu Yue, the pure school flower, went on a rich second-generation supercar is definitely enough to satisfy the gossiping thoughts of college students. Lu Jianhao naturally knew about this matter at the first time, and immediately cursed, "Pooh, a lowly woman really knows how to pretend to be noble." As for Chu Yue, he is currently sitting in the passenger seat of the Lamborghini Bull in Chujiang, daydreaming. Brother, what's the situation with you? Where did this car come from? Although Chu Yue is a girl and not very familiar with cars, this is a supercar. Super running is very expensive, she still knows it. As Chu Jiang drove the car, he smiled and said, "Your brother and I are lucky to win the big prize. The car was just bought by me, and I even transferred 5 million yuan in cash to our parents. Now, your brother, I will take you shopping." Chu Jiang had already figured out a reason before, even if he had won the lottery. And he just read the news, and there happened to be a young man from the Magic City who won 300 million yuan and has already quickly received the prize. All the news reports came out, and Chu Jiang looked at the photo of that young man. Not to mention, his figure really looks like him. As for what that young man looks like, it's impossible to see him in the photos because he's wearing a hood. Upon hearing her older brother say that she had won the big prize, Chu Yue frowned and didn't quite believe what Chu Jiang was saying. Winning the lottery. Why does it sound so mysterious? Is it really fake? Brother, how much did you win? Chu Jiang remained silent and extended 3 fingers directly. 30 million. Chu Yue couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. It's 300 million. Chu Jiang didn't bother Chu Yue much and just said he won 3 billion yuan. Now, Chu Yue, who had finally adjusted her excitement, was completely calm. How much? How much? 3 billion. Otherwise, how would your brother dare to buy this 10 million yuan supercar? Chu Jiang, who has been tempered by society for the first time, when it comes to lying, his face is not red, his heart is not beating, and he keeps telling one thing after another. Before Chu Yue could react to her brother's winning of 300 million yuan, she heard Chu Jiang say that this supercar was worth tens of millions. Chu Yue felt like she was a fool. Brother, I'm not dreaming, am I? Chu Yue felt like she was dreaming. How could someone win a lottery so easily? And it's still a $3 billion prize. However, sitting in the passenger seat of the Lamborghini Bull, which is worth millions, this feeling is really too real. Your brother, I have money now, and our family's life will get better and better in the future. Chu Jiang's mouth slightly raised as he looked at Chu Yue, who was still shocked, and smiled and said, "Brother, did you really win 3 billion yuan in the grand prize? I'm not dreaming, am I?" Chu Yue is still a bit hesitant to believe that this is true. I really hit it. You're not dreaming. Chu Jiang looked at his sister indulgently and smiled, saying, "Brother, although we have money now, this money is a godsend after all. We still need to spend it rationally." Chu Yue is still very calm. Although she knows it's not appropriate to say this at this time, she still needs to remind her brother for a better life in the future. Don't worry, can you still trust me, brother? Of course, Chu Jiang knew what Chu Yue meant, which was to remind him not to be frivolous when he was rich and to keep a low profile. But then again, the true situation of Chu River is only known to him. What kind of lottery winner is he? He's using the binding system to cheat. From childhood to adulthood, Chu Jiang has loved his sister very much. They all say that his elder brother is like a father. Now that his parents are not here in the Magic City, he, who is the eldest brother, naturally needs to take good care of his younger sister. Chu Jiang took Chu Yue to the mall for shopping. He bought a set of skincare products, clothes, and other items that he couldn't afford before for his sister. "Brother, that's enough, that's enough. Look, I can't even lift it anymore." Chu Jiang and Chu Yue were carrying a lot of things in their hands. When Chu Yue saw that his older brother wanted to buy something for him, he quickly refused and said, "Brother, these are all enough for me to use for a year." "Okay, by the way, I just transferred 1 million yuan in cash to you. You work hard at school, so you don't have to save this money. Eat more good food on a regular basis." Chu Jiang looked at his sister and asked with some heartache, "Have you been losing weight again recently?" "I'm a bit thin, but it's okay." Chu Yue pursed her lips, thinking of how she could only spend 10 yuan a day on meals due to insufficient living expenses. Suddenly, a feeling of sadness and injustice surged in her heart. Seeing tears in Chu Yue's eyes, Chu Jiang quickly said, "It's all over now, our days will get better and better in the future." "Aha." Chu Yue empathized and nodded, "Yes, it will get better and better. After leaving the mall, put all the things you bought in the car. Are you hungry? Brother will take you to have a big meal." "Aha." Chu Yue, who had not eaten much at noon, was really hungry after strolling around for so long just now. After all, it's a demon city. As long as you have money, what's not good to eat? Chu Jiang and Chu Yue found a restaurant that specializes in seafood, such as sea cucumber, abalone, king crab, Australian lobster. They all ordered seafood that they wanted to eat but didn't have the money to eat. "Brother, have you ordered too many? I can't finish it." "It's okay, if you can't finish eating, pack it and take it back to eat." Chu Jiang doted on him and said, "If you like it, I can bring you to eat every day." Gout combo, eating too much is not good, and it can get tiring. Chu Yue chuckled and said. A meal cost 5,800 yuan, and when Chu Jiang made the payment, Chu Yue glanced at the bill and felt particularly distressed. "Brother, we spent so much money on a meal. It's too extravagant." 58. "It's enough to cover my living expenses for a year." Coming out of the restaurant and walking on the road, Chu Yuekai whispered to Chu Jiang. "Occasionally, why not indulge in luxury? Besides, I only ate 58% of all the seafood, it's not expensive." Chu Jiang knew that his sister was used to frugality and might not be able to accept spending money like this for a while, so he quickly said something. "Aha, it's still possible to indulge occasionally. However, brother, such a big emperor crab only eats crab legs, it's really too luxurious." Chu Yue was still savoring the king crab he had just eaten. Whether to say it or not, the king crab porridge is really delicious. After finishing the meal, it was almost 8 o'clock. Chu Yue usually doesn't play with her phone very much, so she still doesn't know that the entire Magic City University is spreading rumors about her. Rumors are becoming increasingly outrageous as they spread. Some people say that Chu Yue was taken care of by the wealthy second generation, while others say that Chu Yue had had an abortion for the wealthy second generation. Anyway, if you spread rumors, you can say anything. Although Chu Yue is not usually enemies with others, there are often people who envy her. After all, Chu Yueren is beautiful, has good grades, and is also known as the goddess of purity by many boys. Sometimes the higher you are praised, the more embarrassed you will be when you fall. Although Chu Yue is usually low-key enough, who makes her look outstanding and naturally jealous. Before, Chu Yue didn't do anything wrong. In the eyes of many boys, she was a perfect existence, and those who were jealous of her dared not provoke Chu Yue. But now, photos of Chu Yue affectionately holding onto the wealthy second generation at the school gate, as well as photos of Chu Yue sitting in the front passenger seat of Lamborghini Bull, have all gone viral on the forum of Tieba. The persona of the pure goddess collapsed, and the first to criticize Chu Yu was not those who were jealous of her, but rather Lu Jianhao, who had previously been unable to pursue her. As the president of the student union, Lu Jianhao has had a significant influence on campus. He directly organized a group in the campus post bar, accusing Chu Yu of being a prostitute who pretends to be pure and upright. Everyone knows that Lu Jianhao is pursuing Chu Yu. Now that Lu Jianhao has formed a group to accuse Chu Yu, those who were originally jealous of Chu Yu must not mind the big deal. They have started to agree with Lu Jianhao. On this side, Chu Yu didn't even know that she had been cyberbullied, and she was still immersed in the happiness of being spoiled by her brother. Chu Jiang drove Chu Yu to the entrance of Mo Du University and instructed her to take good care of herself. If there were any difficulties in life, she would just say so, and if she didn't have enough money, she would ask for it. Chu Yu also gave Chu Jiang a blank glance and said, "Brother, the money you gave me is too much. How could it be insufficient?" After all, Chu Jiang directly transferred 1 million to her. Not to mention that she is just a college student, even if she is new to society, she will not be able to spend so much money for a while. Moreover, Chu Yu is inherently the kind of girl who can save and live a difficult life. So much money, as long as she doesn't spend it recklessly, it will be enough for her to spend for a long time. Alright, go back quickly. Rest early at night, your health is important. Got it, brother, go back quickly. The Lamborghini Bull stopped at the school gate, which was naturally seen by many people. Isn't this the Lamborghini Bull from the afternoon? TSK. Goddess Chu Yu, I never expected that Chu Yu would be such a woman. Oh, who said it's not? But it's normal to think about it. With her high looks, isn't it easy to find a wealthy second generation? When Chu Yu got off the car here, many people also saw her. And some good people secretly took photos and uploaded them online. For a moment, the Chiba forum of Moda University exploded again. Chapter 3. Yue Yue, they said you were taken care of. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Look, this is Chu Yu, whom you previously worshipped as the goddess of purity. Pooh. Virtue doesn't match the position. I've already said that Chu Yu is just pretending to be aloof, but actually being coquettish. I used to be blind. I saw the wrong person. I dare not speak, but what if there is a misunderstanding? Chu Yu's floor washing dog is like this, still washing. Chu Yu walked on campus, carrying a bunch of things in big and small bags. However, as she walked along, she felt something was wrong because she noticed that those who looked at her had a hint of sarcasm in their eyes. When Chu Yu returned to the dormitory, her 3 roommates quickly closed the door. Yeah, what's your situation? Why did your phone shut down? We're out of battery. Chu Yu frowned and took out her phone, saying that it was out of battery. Yeah, why are you so calm? The entire campus forum is criticizing you now, sigh. Chu Yu and her 4 roommates have a good relationship on weekdays, so they contacted Chu Yu as soon as she had an accident. Unfortunately, Chu Yu's phone happened to run out of battery. If ordinary people hear themselves being criticized, at least their emotions will fluctuate greatly. But Chu Yu did not experience any emotional fluctuations. Oh! Chu Yu exclaimed, which left her 3 roommates a bit confused. Yeah, aren't you angry? What they said was too unpleasant. Su Jing usually has the best relationship with Chu Yu. She understands that Chu Yu can never be the kind of person they say. Even if it is because of encountering some difficulties that are unavoidable. What did they all say? Chu Yu charged her phone while looking at Su Jing and asking. They said you were taken care of, it's so despicable. Especially that Lu Jianhao, he's really despicable. I used to think he was pretty good, but now it seems like he's really a hypocrite. Fortunately, yeah, you have been refusing Lu Jianhao. He is really not a good person. Chu Yu's roommate became increasingly angry with the crowd, and the more she spoke, the more angry she became. However, the person involved, Chu Yu, is relatively calm. She took out the gifts she had bought for her roommates from her bag and handed them to them one by one. Wow! It's actually SK.2. Yeah, what's the situation? Is this? Yeah, you won't be, no. Chu Yu's roommate looked at the gift in her hand, each with a set of SK.2 skincare products. You know, the cheapest one would cost 4,000 to 5,000 yuan. They are still very clear about the situation at Chu Yu's home. I usually don't even want to spend money on meals, what's going on now? You've thought too much, that's my brother. Chu Yu saw her three roommates looking puzzled, so she directly explained. Your brother. Well, my dear brother was born to a mother. Ah. The three roommates were all stunned. Chu Yu has a close brother, and they have heard Chu Yu talk about it before. But isn't that right? Is Chu Yu's brother driving a Lamborghini? Listen to them say that's a supercar worth nearly 10 million yuan. If Chu Yu's elder brother was a wealthy second generation, how could Chu Yu's daily life be so difficult? My brother has been lucky lately and has made some money. Chu Yu did not say that Chu Jiang won the big prize by buying lottery tickets. After all, she did not want to bring any unnecessary trouble to Chu Jiang. I'll go. Did you make some money? Your brother's car is a Lamborghini Bully. It's said to cost tens of millions. Yu, according to you, your brother is a pioneer. Yu, does your brother have a partner? What do you think of me? Introduce me to your brother and I'll be your sister. Lol. After learning about the specific situation, Chu Yu's three roommates were also quite excited. Firstly, Chu Yu is still the one they know. Secondly, they seem to have discovered something extraordinary. Chu Yu's biological brother is actually a very successful creator. The key is that he is still very handsome. No way. Yeah, I can't watch you suffer. I have to tell the truth about the situation. Su Jing has the best relationship with Chu Yu. In the afternoon, she argued with many people in the post bar, but there were too many mentally disabled people, and she was also scolded very badly. Now that she knows the truth, she will definitely step forward. Alas, it's useless. Rumors stop at the wise, these people. Chu Yu doesn't really care because she knows that even if Su Jing tells the truth, those people cannot believe it. But Su Jing doesn't care, she just wants to help Chu Yu fight for justice. As Su Jing spoke, she had already gone straight to the Chiba of the Magic City University. She directly opened a new post with the title. People who spray feces all over their mouths crawl for me. Then Su Jing directly gave her real name at Lu Jianhao and revealed that Chu Jiang was Chu Yu's biological brother. Not long after the post was posted, someone replied. Brother. Who are you fooling? We don't know about Chu Yu's family situation. Her brother can afford to drive a Lamborghini Bull. That's right, who can believe what you said? Brother. I think it's Brother Qing, right? Are you telling the truth? But isn't the family situation of the goddess Chu Yu saying it's not good? Creating a new generation, is it really fake? Entrepreneurship is not that easy. And if you can afford a Lamborghini Bull, at least you have assets worth a few hundred million, right? It's impossible to get a few hundred million out of thin air, at least you have to work hard for a few years to earn it. If it's like what you said, Chu Yu's previous life couldn't have been so difficult, right? Chu Yu really anticipated it, even though Su Jing had already made it clear, those people didn't believe it at all. Not only did he not believe it, but he also analyzed it thoroughly. As for Chu Yu, she was also very helpless. She didn't want to get involved in this matter at first, but she just checked her phone and it seems like the situation is really going big. And even their counselors sent messages asking her what the situation was. After all, Chu Yu used to be a top student in the department, and it can be said that her future is limitless. The department still attaches great importance to Chu Yue, and when such a thing happens, the counselor naturally takes it very seriously. Chu Yue's phone ran out of battery before, so she didn't see the message sent by the counselor. Now that she saw it, Chu Yue quickly sent a message to her counselor explaining that Chu Jiang was her own brother. Wen Shiqing has been feeling depressed all afternoon. She is Chu Yue's counselor, and speaking of it, she is only 3 years older than Chu Yue. So on the surface, she is Chu Yue's counselor, but privately, she treats Chu Yue as her own sister. Wen Shiqing has just become a counselor, and Chu Yue is the most outstanding student she led in her first class. When she learned about Chu Yue, she also contacted him as soon as possible. However, Chu Yue's phone has been turned off. Ah! Are you saying that person is your own brother? Yes, his name is Chu Jiang, my own brother. Oh, but, that's not right. My brother is starting his own business and has recently made a lot of money. Chu Yue knew what Wen Shiqing was puzzled about, so she also briefly explained. Well, I know now. Sigh, it scared me to death. Wen Shiqing also breathed a sigh of relief. She had just come over from the age of Chu Yue, and she knew very well what it meant for herself and her family if a girl fell. She is very optimistic about Chu Yue and does not want her to fall into corruption because of money, a common thing. Now that she found out that Chu Yue was still the one she knew, but everyone misunderstood, she breathed a sigh of relief. But the next moment, she couldn't help but frown. How terrifying online violence is, she is true. The saying goes that words can be feared. If this matter is not explained clearly, Chu Yue will definitely be pointed at by others in school in the future, and life will be difficult. Chu Yue didn't originally intend to explain this matter, as it is her own family matter and belongs to privacy. Secondly, even if she explains, those people may not necessarily believe it. But now the situation is getting worse and worse, Chu Yue thought for a moment and decided to personally explain this matter. She went directly to the Chiba and posted a post with the title, I am Chu Yue. I am Chu Yue, and I apologize for taking up public resources due to my actions. Regarding this matter, I have only 2 words. Firstly, the wealthy second generation who was accused of being a Lamborghini bull by you is my own brother, named Chu Jiang. Secondly, I have never claimed to be a pure goddess, nor do I have what you call, pretending to be pure and establishing a character. Chu Yue personally explained and won the support of many people. I just said that the goddess Chu Yue is not that kind of person. You bunch of brainworms, I can't explain it to you. Goddess Chu Yue, I will always support you. Qingzhe Ziqing, Chu Yue goddess, we don't need to deal with these brainless people. There are those who support Chu Yue, so naturally there are those who are brainless. Who can believe what you said? Anyway, I don't believe it. Is that right, dear brother? Hehe, I really didn't expect Chu Yue to use this excuse. A bitch who pretends to be pure and upright, please get out of Magic City University. People who are brainless and black have no brains at all. Many of them are already jealous of Chu Yue, and it's hard for them to find a chance. How could they stop criticizing her just because of Chu Yue's explanation? Chu Yue originally thought she could ignore it, but when she saw those brainless black people saying such outrageous things, her mentality immediately collapsed. Yeah, don't worry too much. These people are just like this. They can't stand others living better than themselves. They just go black for the sake of darkness. Are these people really brainless? How did they get into college? The human heart is treacherous, and today I finally understand this sentence. Chu Yue's 3 roommates saw that Chu Yue's face was not very good, so they quickly comforted and said. Yue, I think you should tell your brother about this matter. If he comes forward to solve it, it will definitely be more effective than explaining it ourselves. Su Jing looked at Chu Yue and directly suggested that Chu Yue tell Chu Jiang about this matter. After all, if Chu Jiang could come forward and explain the situation, those speechless people wouldn't have anything to say. Ah, this is the only way now. Chu Yue let out a sigh. She didn't originally want to trouble her brother, but if she wanted to solve this matter, Chu Jiang would definitely have to personally come forward to solve it. Chu Yue picked up her phone and directly called Chu Jiang. Brother, there's a small problem on my end. Chapter 4. Bullying my sister, why are you seeking death? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother, there's a small problem on my end. Chu Yue briefly explained this matter, and Chu Jiang understood the situation halfway through. Are you okay now? Chu Jiang's voice was low, his face black, and he asked with concern, suppressing his anger. I'm fine, it's just. Sigh. I am aware of my older sister's personality, and in general, it is impossible for Chu Yue to contact me. Now that Chu Yue contacts herself, it indicates that the situation is very serious and she cannot solve it on her own. Yue Yue, don't worry, I'll handle this matter. Chu Jiang was originally planning to take a stroll around the bar just now to see if he could get in touch with a few wealthy second-generation people and collect more rewards. Halfway through the car, he received a call from Chu Yue, who didn't hesitate and turned the car around at the next intersection. Family is one's bottom line. Chu Jiang will never allow anyone to harm his family. No matter who the other party is, Chu Jiang will make him pay the price. Chu Jiang doesn't like to cause trouble, but he is absolutely not afraid of it. Drive a supercar straight to the entrance of Modu University. Chu Jiang sat in the car and first wandered around the forum of the Jieba Forum at Magic City University, identifying those who specifically targeted Chu Yue. Lu Jianhao is the most active and the culprit. Although Chu Jiang doesn't know Lu Jianhao, after browsing the Jieba, he also learned some things. Of course, he also saw the posts posted by Chu Yue's roommate to her, but the effect was minimal. It is difficult to reason with them about the situation of online violence. The brainless sprayer doesn't care about so much, it simply doesn't have a brain. Even those who crawl and roll in society are difficult to deal with online bullying, let alone college students like Chu Yue. The best way to deal with this type of online soft violence is to use violence to control it and address those who lead the way in cyberbullying. Punch open with one punch to avoid 100 punches. Chu Yue, as a delicate girl, cannot solve such a problem. Naturally, he, who is a big brother, should take action. Let's start with him. Chu Jiang confirmed that Lu Jianhao was the one who led the trouble, so naturally he couldn't easily let him go. Move quickly. Be ruthless. Make sure those people understand the consequences of spreading rumors. After thinking about what to do, Chu Jiang also prepared to drive into school. The security guard at the school gate actually noticed Chu Jiang's Lamborghini Bull a long time ago. I came over in the afternoon, and just now I saw Chu Yue back again. It's only been over half an hour now, and I'm back. Although it is not easy to know who can afford to drive such a luxury car, for safety reasons, the security guard at the school gate still stopped Chu Jiang. Look, this is the school, no foreign cars are allowed inside. Grandpa, could you please accommodate me? My sister is attending college here. She just messaged me saying she has a stomachache, and I'm in a hurry to take her to the hospital. Chu Jiang said so, and the security guard was also stunned for a moment. Grandpa, look, I'm driving this car. I can't just run to school to cause trouble, can I? Chu Jiang added that upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, the old man thought for a moment that it was indeed such a truth. Originally, the security guard didn't want to provoke a wealthy second-generation like Chu Jiang. Now, upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, he has directly released him. Thank you, sir. Seeing the security guard release, Chu Jiang also smiled and said thank you to the security guard. Then with a press of the accelerator, Chu Jiang drove his Lamborghini Bull directly into the campus of Modu University. Although it's almost 10 p.m. now, there are still many students walking outside on the campus of Modu University. Lamborghini is so high profile that many people can't help but look over. Chu Jiang is now going to find Lu Jianhao, but he is not a student at Moda University and is not familiar with this area. When he parked his car on the roadside, thinking about how to find Lu Jianhao, a girl who had been running for 2 nights happened to come by. "Hi, beautiful woman, can I ask you something?" Chu Jiang immediately prepared to ask someone about it. When he was browsing the Chiba, he also learned about Lu Jianhao's name and knew better that he was the president of the student union of Moda University. If it were an ordinary person, they probably wouldn't know each other. But since Lu Jianhao is the president of the student union, there are probably quite a few people who know him. The girl who ran at night stopped and looked at Chu Jiang sitting in the driver's seat, her face and ears turning red. Mainly because Chu Jiang is very handsome, and just now he called her a beauty. "What's up, you can ask. Do you know Lu Jianhao? He is the president of your student union. Do you know which dormitory building he lives in?" "Lu Jianhao. I know, I saw him just now. He's right on the basketball court and shouldn't have left yet." Lucky enough, Chu Jiang didn't expect to be able to directly ask a passerby where Lu Jianhao was. "Thank you." Chu Jiang drove straight towards the basketball court. Lu Jianhao is not playing basketball on the basketball court, he is dating girls here. Although he had been pursuing Chu Yu before, in fact, he didn't just like Chu Yu as a girl. Now that he has torn his face with Chu Yu, it is naturally impossible for him to pursue her again. At the first moment, he turned his head to pursue another girl. That girl may not be as beautiful as Chu Yu, but she is very coquettish. Lu Jianhao invited her out to relax, and she immediately agreed. Sitting on the bench next to the basketball court, Lu Jianhao hugged the girl's shoulder and said, "I used to like that slutty woman Chu Yu because I was blind. Compared to you, she's just nothing." While Lu Jianhao slandered Chu Yu, he also resorted to bullying the girl in his arms. Chu Jiang drove to the basketball court and sat in the car, smoking a cigarette. After smoking a cigarette, he picked up his glass and walked straight out of the car. Those boys playing basketball all saw Chu Jiang get off the car. To be honest, they all showed envious expressions. Super run. Not to mention the Lamborghini Bull worth millions, as long as it's a boy, who wouldn't like it? Envy comes from envy, but not everyone can afford this kind of supercar. Chu Jiang held a glass in one hand and looked around as well. Seeing the boys playing basketball all looking towards him, Chu Jiang didn't hesitate either. "Who is Lu Jianhao?" Chu Jiang walked forward and shouted loudly as he watched the people. Upon hearing that the person Chu Jiang was looking for was Lu Jianhao, the boys playing basketball also exchanged glances. Do Lu Jianhao and his team know that the president of the student union? I just saw him dating Chen over there. One of the more honest boys pointed towards Lu Jianhao with his hand. Chu Jiang looked in the direction he pointed and indeed found a man and a woman standing up, ready to leave. Lu Jianhao didn't notice Chu Jiang driving over just now, but he naturally heard Chu Jiang's loud shout. He turned his head to look at Chu Jiang, and his heart was also startled. "Are you looking for me? It seems like you're here to cause trouble." Although Lu Jianhao is usually quite bold, he is actually very timid, just the kind of soft egg who bullies the weak and fears the hard. Seeing Chu Jiang's fierce appearance, he turned around and wanted to run. However, Chu Jiang was not far away from him, and he took 3 steps and 2 steps before directly blocking Lu Jianhao. Chu Jiang glanced at the girl next to Lu Jianhao and immediately fixed his gaze on him. "Are you Lu Jianhao?" I am. "Are you the president of the student union?" "Are you the one who slandered my sister Chu Yu?" Chu Jiang must first find the right person, staring fiercely at Lu Jianhao and suppressing his anger, asking. "Chu Yu, I." Lu Jianhao could feel the pressure on Chu Jiang's body and spoke in a low, squeaky voice. "That's right. It's you." Chu Jiang chuckled and in the next second, he burst out, holding the glass in his hand and smashing it hard on Lu Jianhao's head. Ah! Tang Chen beside Lu Jianhao was so scared that she took a few steps back and screamed loudly. The incident happened suddenly, and Lu Jianhao didn't even realize it, so he was kicked by Chu Jiang. The glass shattered, and blood gushed out from Lu Jianhao's head, while Chu Jiang's hands were also covered in blood. A part of it belongs to oneself, and more of it belongs to Lu Jianhao. Lu Jianhao fell to the ground, and Chu Jiang stepped forward and glared fiercely at Tang Chen. "Shut up." Tang Chen was still screaming when Chu Jiang scolded her. She quickly closed her mouth and covered her body with her hand, trembling all over. Lu Jianhao sat limply on the ground, and Chu Jiang stepped forward and kicked him hard in the stomach. "You dare to bully my sister, why are you so desperate?" Although there aren't many people on this side of the basketball court, when such a big thing happened, many people gathered in an instant. Many timid girls screamed when they saw Lu Jianhao with blood all over his head. "Isn't that Lu Jianhao? What's the situation?" "I don't know, I just came over." "Who is the man who hit Lu Jianhao?" "I'm not sure, but he drove the Lamborghini Bull next to him. I was getting close just now, and I heard the man say, 'Dare to bully my sister, you're really looking for death.'" Sleeping trough. Big news. Student Union President Lu Jianhao was kicked open with a glass on the basketball court. That person seems to be driving a Lamborghini to pick up Chu Yu's wealthy second generation in the afternoon. It seems that Lu Jianhao bullied his sister and then she came knocking on her door. The school is not just that big, and the news of Lu Jianhao being cheated quickly spread. In Chu Yu's dormitory. Chu Yu always feels uneasy in her heart, as she understands Chu Jiang's personality. If my older brother knows he has been bullied, he will definitely be very impulsive. "Ah, I shouldn't have told my brother." Chu Yu frowned and murmured to herself. Sleeping slot. Su Jing, who was browsing the Chiba, suddenly shouted, which startled Chu Yu and the others. "What's wrong?" "It's sudden and surprising, day by day." "Lu Jianhao, someone beat up that garbage from Lu Jianhao. I heard it was opened with a glass cup." When Su Jing said it, she was still very excited. After all, Lu Jianhao was the one who led the way in spreading rumors about Chu Yu. Is it really fake? And this good thing? Who did it? I'll give him a thumbs up. That's great. That hypocrite Lu Jianhao really deserves it. Several roommates of Chu Yu are now fighting for her grievances. When they hear that Lu Jianhao has been beaten, they are excited and clap their hands directly. "Chu Yu, how do I feel that the person who hit Lu Jianhao is your brother?" They said that person came over in a Lamborghini, as if he also said, "You dare to bully my sister, why are you so desperate?" Upon hearing Su Jing's words, Chu Yu frowned twice and quickly took a look at the photo sent by Su Jing. Bad thing. It's really my brother. Chu Yu was also stunned for a moment and quickly ran out of the dormitory towards the basketball court. Chapter 5. Experience the nightlife of the rich second generation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chu Yu understands his brother's temper. If he goes late, he may lose his life. On this side of the basketball court, Lu Jianhao dare not move at all. He originally wanted to resist, but after being forcefully knocked on the ground by Chu Jiang, he immediately became honest. At this point, due to such incidents, more and more people are coming to watch the excitement. Chu Jiang wants this kind of effect. Since he has decided to use this method to argue for his sister, he is not afraid of making things worse. The more people come, the better. It's best to let those brainless rascals take a look and see what the consequences of bullying their sister are. What's the situation? I just came over. I heard that person say that Lu Jianhao seems to have bullied his sister. Who is his sister? Who did Lu Jianhao bully? Bullying someone else's younger sister. I'll go, then I deserve to be beaten. Isn't he the wealthy second generation who drove a Lamborghini to pick up Chu Yue in the afternoon? Why did Lu Jianhao bully his sister again? Is there a possibility that Chu Yue is his sister? When I was browsing the Jieba just now, I saw Chu Yue posting explaining that the person in the afternoon was her biological brother, a biological brother born to a mother. After Chu Yue ran out of the dormitory, her 3 roommates also followed over. Chu Yue and her dormitory were not far from the basketball court. Chu Yue left the dormitory building and ran for only 5 minutes to reach this end. When she arrived here, she saw so many people gathered and her face was full of anxiety. I finally managed to squeeze in from the crowd. When she saw Lu Jianhao sitting on the ground like a bereaved dog, covered in blood, she breathed a sigh of relief. She was afraid that Chu Jiang would act impulsively. If she really beat Lu Jianhao hard, her brother would not be able to escape legal punishment. "Brother, are you okay?" Chu Yue rushed directly to Chu Jiang's side and asked with a concerned expression on her face. "Brother, it's okay." Chu Jiang saw Chu Yue coming over, his lips slightly raised, revealing a spoiled smile. "Go, apologize to my sister." Turning around, Chu Jiang gave Lu Jianhao a fierce glare and almost scared him out of feces with a scolding. Where else does Lu Jianhao dare to have any other ideas now? With a lowered head and a mournful face, he walked up to Chu Yue and whispered, "I'm sorry. Didn't you eat? You spoke so softly that you couldn't hear me." Chu Jiang scolded, and Lu Jianhao almost knelt down. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." Lu Jianhao gritted his teeth and shouted in pain. "What's wrong?" Chu Jiang sneered and continued to ask. "I shouldn't spread rumors about Chu Yue without knowing anything about the situation. Lu Jianhao is not foolish. Now he knows what mistakes he has made and who he has offended. If I know you still dare to spread rumors about my sister, next time I won't just give you a lesson, I'll just kill you. I'll keep Chu Jiang's promise." Chu Jiang is not afraid of him retaliating against him, and he dare not give him 10 cowards. As for the onlookers, they were all dumbfounded. Is he really Chu Yue's brother? How could this be? Brother Chu Yue is a wealthy second-generation driver of Lamborghini cows. But last time I saw Chu Yue reluctant to even eat vegetables. I'll just say, the goddess Chu Yue is not the kind of woman who admires vanity. Well done, Lu Jianhao really deserves to be beaten. He doesn't know anything and dares to slander our goddess Chu Yue. So, the goddess Chu Yue is actually Bai Fumei. Oh my god, if anyone can marry her, wouldn't she just become a winner in life? Chu Yue's brother is really good, man. Don't you dare say that the genes in the Chu Yue goddess's family are also too good. Her brother is really handsome. With Chu Jiang's move, everyone's criticism of Chu Yue instantly reversed. As for Lu Jianhao, the president of the student union, he became a street mouse and everyone shouted and beat him up. However, the matter was not over yet. Chu Jiang looked at the onlookers and said directly, "I am Chu Yue's biological brother, my name is Chu Jiang. I came here today to apologize for my sister. I hope those who slandered my sister can come forward and apologize. I have taken screenshots of those posts that slandered my sister on Jieba. If I can't see your apology before noon tomorrow, then don't blame me for being impolite to you." Not to mention Chu Jiang's domineering behavior, after all, it was his own sister who was bullied. Imagine, what if it were your own younger sister? Can I be as domineering and protect my sister as others? As soon as Chu Jiang finished speaking, many people next to him apologized directly to Chu Yue. "Chu Yue, I'm sorry, I'm too brainless. I shouldn't follow everyone's lead. Chu Yue, I apologize to you. I shouldn't slander you without knowing anything. Chu Yue, I'm sorry." Many people present apologized directly to Chu Yue in person. As for those who were not present, when they learned that Chu Jiang might really cause trouble for them, they were also frightened and quickly posted an apology. For a while, most of the posts that slandered Chu Yu in the Jieba of Moda University were deleted. Instead, there are countless apology posts. On this side of the basketball court, Chu Jiang glared at Chen Qian. You take him to the hospital, I'll cover the medical expenses. Chu Jiang is not an unreasonable person either. Besides, he is responsible for dealing with the people. If you want to go private, I'll give you 50,000 yuan, Chu Jiang said as he looked at Lu Jianhao, who was stunned. If you want to go public, it's okay. Let's go to the police station now. Upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, Lu Jianhao said with a mournful expression, I want to be private. One reason is that he is at fault. Secondly, he had no idea what background Chu Jiang had. After all, he is a big shot in Lamborghini. As a college student, how could he possibly provoke others? Sanlai, Chu Jiang has given too much. I just got kicked and kicked twice. Why did he hesitate when he heard that Chu Jiang was going to give him 50,000 yuan for personal gain? Whenever he hesitates for a second, it is disrespectful to that 50,000 yuan. Chu Jiang directly transferred 50,000 yuan to Lu Jianhao privately. After receiving the money, Lu Jianhao didn't want to stay here for another second. With the help of Chen Qian, he limped away from the basketball court. The melon-eating crowd around gradually dispersed. Yeah, your brother is so handsome. Yeah, you're so happy. Your brother is just a crazy guardian of his sister. Yeah, the school forum is full of apology posts for you. It's really cool to have your brother handle this kind of thing. Chu Yu and the others returned to their dormitory, and her 3 roommates were still unsatisfied. They looked at Chu Yu and said with envy. After all, they never expected Chu Jiang to solve the problem in this way. This is really so handsome. Ah, your brother is too kind. If it were me, I would definitely tear apart Lu Jianhao's mouth. Lu Jianhao is now saving face. Let's see how he will continue to work in the student union in the future. But he's actually not at a loss. Although his head was hacked, your brother gave him 50,000 yuan. Speaking of Chu Jiang giving Lu Jianhao 50,000 yuan for personal gain, Chu Yu still feels a bit heartbroken. That's 50,000 yuan. You should know that her living expenses for the previous year were only 5,000 yuan. However, in the event of such a situation, it would be best to spend money privately. If the situation escalates, she is also afraid that her brother will bear legal responsibility. Chu Jiang just escorted Chu Yu to the dormitory downstairs, and then drove away from Moda University. Chapter 6. You picked up 50 million cash. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Coming out of Magic University, Chu Jiang took out his phone and checked the time. It was already past 10 p.m. At this point, Chu Jiang didn't have any other thoughts. He just wanted to find a place to sleep. Although the nightlife in the Magic City is rich, the area is so large that there are always some places that are quieter at night. Moda University is not in the city center, and the roads are relatively spacious. At this point, there are not many cars on the road. Chu Jiang drove a Lamborghini with his left hand resting on the car window and his right hand on the steering wheel, feeling very comfortable. Driving a supercar with one hand, once upon a time, I also envied those wealthy second-generation people. Chu Jiang was full of thoughts, but suddenly he saw 7 or 8 supercars rushing from behind him in the rearview mirror. Speaking of which, Chu Jiang is a bit panicked. Although he drove a Lamborghini all day, he just made do with it. His driving skills are really average. There are so many wealthy second-generation drivers racing in the back, and he happened to be in the middle of the road, which must have caused some impact on the back. Chu Jiang thought so in his heart, but unconsciously stepped on the gas pedal under his feet. The supercar looked like it was about to catch up, but saw Chu Jiang forcefully stepping on the gas pedal, and his speed soared to 150 miles. The big cow in front is not our car, is it? No, what does he mean by forcefully stepping on the gas pedal? He wants to race with us. I don't know. It's interesting. Keep up. Keep up. Wang Tsong drove a Porsche 918, while Qin Fan drove a Ferrari Rafale. The people following behind are also famous and playful masters on the table of the Magic City. They rarely encounter such things, and they also mistakenly believe that Chu Jiang is provoking them by racing, so everyone has come to their senses. Step on the accelerator one by one, and the originally quiet night is instantly filled with the roar of supercars. Chu Jiang is also confused. He actually wants to drive faster and find a spacious place to stop in front to make way for those supercars behind. But who knows, this road is very long, and there is no particularly suitable place to give way ahead. In addition, his current speed is very fast, and the speed of the supercars behind him is also very fast. If he stops, he might just come straight to a supercar and have a big rear-end collision. He doesn't want to make tomorrow's news headlines because of this kind of thing. If someone's life comes to this, wouldn't you have to go in before enjoying life? Chu Jiang didn't think much either. Fortunately, this road was really well built and it was also very straight. After driving at high speed for about 20 minutes, Chu Jiang finally found an opportunity to stop. The supercar behind saw Chu Jiang's big cow come to a stop, but they all slowed down and stopped. Chu Jiang, who was sitting in the car, was stunned for a moment. What's the situation? Is this going to beat me up? I'm lying down. Chu Jiang is certain that he does not know these wealthy second-generation supercars. Behind them, the leading car was Wang Tsong's Porsche 918, followed by the red Ferrari Rafale. When these two cars stopped, the supercars behind also stopped one after another. Wang Tsong and Qin Fan got off the car, and the owners of other cars behind them also opened the doors and walked out of the car. Chu Jiang saw them all getting off the car, so he didn't want to act timid. He also opened the car door and walked out of the car. Hi brother, what's your situation? Why did you suddenly stop? Wang Tsong looked at Chu Jiang and shouted. The night was already dim, and the cars across from him had their headlights on. Facing the lights, Chu Jiang naturally couldn't see Wang Tsong and the others clearly. However, when Chu Jiang heard Wang Tsong asking if there was something wrong with the car, he also breathed a sigh of relief. At least, these wealthy second-generation people have no hostility towards him. How smart is it? When Chu Jiang walked up to Wang Tsong's side, he recognized him at a glance. Qin Fan. Qin Shao. Besides Wang Tsong, Chu Jiang also recognized Qin Fan among so many people present. Are you? Wang Tsong and Qin Fan confirmed that they didn't know Chu Jiang, and they exchanged glances, but couldn't help but look at Chu Jiang and ask a question. Well, I'm sorry, I was thinking of finding a spacious place to make way for you earlier. Who knew this road was built so straight? Chu Jiang scratched his head and looked at Wang Tsong and the others with a smile, saying, Ah. We thought you were trying to race with us. I'll just say, why did you suddenly stop? By the way, are you a native of the Magic City? I haven't seen you before, have I? Qin Fan looked at Chu Jiang and casually asked. I'm not a native of the Magic City. My name is Chu Jiang, Qin Gu, and Song Gu. Nice to meet you all. Chu Jiang wouldn't give up such a great opportunity to make friends with top-tier wealthy second-generation people like Wang Tsong Qin Fan. Brother Chu, are you very handsome? Wang Tsong extended his hand and shook hands with Chu Jiang, casually teasing him. The misunderstanding here was resolved, and the atmosphere instantly became harmonious. Chu Jiang took out a pack of huazi and handed a cigarette to everyone present, taking the opportunity to make friends and get to know each other. It doesn't matter whether you have deep friendships or not, mainly because Chu Jiang wants to take the opportunity to collect more rewards. Looking at those small floating balls, Chu Jiang also picked them all up one by one. Ding, you have picked up a Lamborghini poison truck. Ding, you have picked up a villa in the east suburb number 1 courtyard. Ding, you have picked up a villa in Tangong. Ding, you picked up 20 million yuan in cash. Ding, you have picked up 50 million yuan in cash. Chu Jiang had been busy all day before, only then did he pick up those rewards. Now he has met Qin Fan Wang Tsong and 7 or 8 others, and the value of the rewards he picked up is several times that of before. It seems that the more you meet wealthy people, the higher the reward value you can collect. Chu Jiang couldn't help but murmur in his heart, and immediately decided to get to know Wang Tsong Qin and the others well, even if he said anything today. Tsong Gu, Qin Gu, have long heard of the reputation of the two brothers and have been looking for opportunities to get to know each other. Unexpectedly, today I met the two brothers in this way. The saying goes, don't hit the smiling person with your hand. Chu Jiang lowered his posture so low that he instantly won the favor of Wang Tsong and Qin Fan. In the late night, a group of wealthy second-generation drivers driving supercars stopped by the roadside to chat, and occasionally passing vehicles couldn't help but take a few more glances towards this side. Chu, let's go to the bar to play later. Do you want to come together? After some conversation, Wang Tsong and Qin Fan still recognized Chu Jiang very much, and even invited him to go to the bar with them directly. Wang Tsong personally invited Chu Jiang, and Chu Jiang couldn't help but give Wang Tsong face. Okay. I happen to have nothing to do now. Chu Jiang responded with one gulp, and the group drove 8 or 9 supercars towards the newly opened bar in the Enchanted City. Chapter 7. Picking up a drunk woman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When I arrived at the bar, it was just past midnight, which was also the busiest time in the bar. Originally, Qin Fan said he was treating, but halfway through, Chu Jiang secretly went to settle the bill while using the restroom. When Qin Fan came to settle the bill, he was informed by the front desk that it had been settled, and Qin Fan suddenly looked at Chu Jiang. After a night of conversation, Qin Fan's impression of Chu River was quite good. Brother Chu, you're very good. Next time I treat you, you can't secretly check out anymore, otherwise I'll be angry. Qin Fan hugged Chu Jiang's shoulder and said with a chuckle. Chu Jiang's harvest tonight was quite abundant. He picked up 5 or 6 billion yuan in cash alone, a pile of luxury cars, and 2 villas worth over 300 million yuan. The amount of expenses he settled was just a drop in the bucket compared to the rewards he picked up. Coming out of the bar, the group walked a bit wobbly. After drinking so much alcohol, the car naturally won't be able to drive. There are many hotels nearby, and Qin Fan has already arranged them properly. Chu, that Qin dynasty Mingyue was owned by me. I have already reserved the room for someone. Let's make do with it tonight on my end. Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, Chu Jiang nodded in agreement. After all, after drinking so much alcohol, I definitely can't drive. And it's already past 3 a.m. now, so it's probably already dawn when we get home. High all night, Chu Jiang is also very tired now and wants to fall asleep. Chu Jiang was just about to follow in Qin Fan's footsteps, but his eyes glanced at the side. A drunken woman stumbled into Chu Jiang's arms. A girl, don't you know the world is dangerous? Drinking so much alcohol, fortunately you met me, otherwise, hee. Chu Jiang couldn't even open the eyes of the drunken woman, and he muttered to himself. At this point, Chu Jiang can't just leave her here alone. Otherwise, if we encounter any bad people. Chu Jiang crouched down and picked up the drunken woman. Not to mention, she was quite beautiful and had a pretty figure. If it weren't for Chu Jiang being strong enough, after drinking so much wine, he wouldn't be able to hold her. Chu Jiang chased after Qin Fan and his group with a drunken woman in his arms. Brother Chu, what's the situation with you? This woman drank too much and just threw herself directly at me. Chu Jiang briefly described what had just happened, and Qin Fan and Wang Song glanced at the woman lying in Chu Jiang's arms, but couldn't help but show a smile. Brother Chu, you have great fortune. This woman looks great. Song Gu, don't laugh at me anymore. This woman has drunk too much, and I can't ignore her. Brother Chu, there may not be enough rooms over there. Qin Fan chuckled and said, you picked up the person, you have to take responsibility. Yeah, that's right, Wang Song agreed. Ah. Chu Jiang frowned and said, alas, let's take her to the hotel first. It's time for this, don't have any more accidents. The group arrived at the hotel opened by Qin Fan. During the Qin dynasty, there was a bright moon and a retro-style hotel. After all, it was invested by Qin Fan, and the high-end level of this hotel is not inferior to those 5-star hotels at all. Moreover, the decoration with ancient style and charm looks more emotional. When they arrived at the hotel, it was already 3:30 in the morning, and Wang Songqin and his companions went straight into their room to sleep. Due to the shortage of hotel rooms, Chu Jiang could only bring the drunken woman to his own room. Fortunately, I am a gentleman, otherwise it would be like you, hee. Chu Jiang threw her onto the bed, covered her with a blanket, and couldn't help but smile bitterly as he said. The room only has a bed and a sofa. After a brief wash, Chu Jiang sat on the sofa and lit a huazi, taking a few comfortable sips. His harvest tonight was quite enormous. There are 6 billion yuan in cash, 13 supercars, and 2 detached villas. As for other rewards, for example, Patek Philippe has 3 yuan, and Richard Miller also has 2 yuan. Everything is stored in the system space, and as long as his mind moves and he wants to extract a reward, the reward can be extracted by him. Of course, for villas and the like, what he extracts is the property certificate. As for cash, it is directly deposited into the Chujiang bank account. As for rewards like watches, they will appear directly in front of oneself. Chu Jiang sorted out the rewards he had picked up. When Chu Jiang saw the Richard Miller RM 53.02 blue crystal polo tourbillon worth 20 million yuan, he also directly extracted it. It truly deserves to be a world-class watch that is highly sought after by young people. Chu Jiang put the watch on his wrist and couldn't help but appreciate it. It is said that the poor play with cars and the rich play with watches. Just thinking that this watch is worth 20 million yuan, Chu Jiang couldn't help but sigh. Isn't this just putting the entire set of magic into your hands? Chu Jiang is still very satisfied with this Richard Miller piece, which is blue and white, looking quite refreshing. Lying on the sofa, a hint of fatigue surged up, and soon fell asleep. After all, I didn't go to bed until after 4 a.m., and when I woke up, it was almost noon. Chu Jiang stretched lazily and slept on the sofa all night. If it weren't for his youth, his body wouldn't be able to carry it. Chu Jiang stood up with bare arms and looked at the woman still sleeping in bed. Damn it, I knew sleeping on the sofa was so uncomfortable. I should have thrown her on the sofa last night. Chu Jiang murmured, and the next second, the woman on the bed rolled over and let out a soft moan. She slowly opened her eyes, feeling a bit dizzy from drinking too much last night. But when she realized something was wrong, she woke up in shock. Suddenly sitting up from the bed, Chu Jiang was startled. Shen Xingwei naturally saw Chu Jiang with her upper body bare, and she instinctively screamed out. As for women, their voices are quite sharp, and Chu Jiang was also directly covered in her ears due to her noise. If you shout again, I'll throw you out. Chu Jiang frowned and looked at the woman angrily, warning her. Shen Xingwei covered her body with a blanket and looked at Chu Jiangji, asking, "Who are you? Why am I here? What kind of person am I?" Chu Jiang was questioned by a woman and couldn't help but feel angry. Lighting a cigarette, Chu Jiang took a deep breath and said, "I am your savior. If it weren't for me last night, guess what would have happened to you?" The woman remained silent when she heard Chu Jiang say so. She was now completely awake, and seeing herself wearing clothes, she also breathed a sigh of relief. What will happen? Hee, you drank too much last night and threw yourself at me. If I didn't care about you, what would happen to you? You know. Chu Jiang sat down on the sofa. Don't worry, I didn't touch you. Why don't you touch me? The woman looked at Chu Jiang and one sentence confused him. Ah. Why didn't I touch you? Chu Jiang murmured softly, Here, do you mean, you want me to touch you? I didn't mean that, I just wanted to say, there's nothing good about men. Shen Xingwei gave Chu Jiang a fierce glare and gritted her teeth, saying. Oh, I said, you know what you're saying, I shouldn't have cared about you last night. Chu Jiang was actually angry and laughed at. He was really a good person who didn't deserve to be repaid, but instead was accused of not being a good thing. Shen Xingwei sat on the bed, but Chu Jiang couldn't get used to her, even though she looked so beautiful and in line with his own aesthetics. You're also awake now. If you're okay, please leave my room. Upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, Shen Xingwei was stunned. No, you're responsible to me. Why didn't I touch you again? What kind of responsibility do I have for you? Chu Jiang was actually laughed at in anger. I don't care, my parents don't want me anymore. I'm homeless now. Since you picked me up, you have to take responsibility for me. Otherwise, women are only difficult to raise as petty people. Shen Xingwei's rogue behavior has confused Chu Jiang. Chu Jiang remained silent and took a deep puff of his cigarette. Shen Xingwei also stared directly at Chu Jiang. I don't care, you're responsible to me. I found out you're really a scoundrel. Chu Jiang stood up and walked towards the bedside. Shen Xingwei instinctively dodged for a moment, but the next second, Chu Jiang lifted her chin with his hand and said, It's not impossible to be responsible for you, you. Chu Jiang stared at Shen Xingwei's chest with narrowed eyes and joked. Shen Xingwei was also too scared to move, but she also whimpered, I am a PhD in management from Stanford University in the United States, and I can be your assistant. Upon hearing Shen Xingwei claim to be a PhD from Stanford University in the United States, Chu Jiang couldn't help but frown and say, How old are you? Just a PhD. I have D. Chu Jiang frowned and said, I mean, how old are you this year? I'm on the 24th this year, why haven't I met any academic achievers? Shen Xingwei didn't show weakness either, she looked up at Chu Jiang and said. I really haven't seen it before. Chu Jiang chuckled and said, You, a female doctor, drank yourself unconscious in the middle of the night. It's really you. I was in a bad mood. I just returned from the United States and found out that my parents had divorced and reorganized their family. When Shen Xingwei said this, her eyes couldn't help but wet. My parents don't want me anymore. I won't have a home in the future. Woo woo woo. Chapter 8. Do rich people really enjoy life? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Throughout his life, Chu Jiang was most afraid of women crying. Are you still a female doctor? Why are you crying? Chu Jiang's tone softened slightly, and he looked at Shen Xingwei, who was curled up like a little hedgehog, saying. What's wrong with the female doctor? I'm only 20.4. Upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, Shen Xingwei's nose twitched and she looked up at Chu Jiang with her head raised. If you're a female doctor, you need to be strong. Chu Jiang has also figured out what the situation is. It turned out that after she returned to China after completing her studies, she found out that her parents had already divorced and even both parties had reorganized their families. This kind of family upheaval is really difficult for her to accept at the moment. So she got drunk at the bar last night. If Chu Jiang wasn't there last night, wouldn't it be even more tragic now? Although she is a PhD, she is still a girl and only 24 years old, not as old as me. Chu Jiang murmured in his heart as he looked at Shen Xingwei and asked, Are you really a PhD from Stanford University? Of course. This is Shen Xingwei's final pride. She held her head high and her gaze was firm. Then you don't have to rely on me either. I'm poor, I don't have money. Chu Jiang gave a bitter smile and said somewhat helplessly. No, you have money. Richard Miller RM 53.02 Blue Crystal Polo Tourbillon, this watch is limited to 10 worldwide and is priced at 20 million yuan, said Shen Xingwei with a slight upward smile on her lips. It has to be said that Shen Xingwei's insight is terrifying. Just now she just glanced and recognized the Richard Miller on Chu Jiang's wrist. However, after all, as a ticket for billionaires, Richard Miller has conquered many young billionaires with his cool and eye-catching appearance. Hee, what if it's fake? Chu Jiang raised his mouth and said with a soft smile. It can't be fake, I believe in my appraisal ability. You just took a glance, how can you be sure it's true? You know, I'm a female doctor. Chu Jiang looked at Shen Xingwei and pondered for a few seconds before saying, What's your name? Shen Xingwei. Good name. I don't know your name yet. Chu Jiang. After Chu Jiang finished speaking, he added, the heavenly gate interrupted the opening of Chu River. You have no future following me. Chu Jiang looked at Shen Xingwei and couldn't help but smile bitterly. He himself relies on cheating to pick up rewards, but she follows him and can. Chu Jiang thought this way and frowned slightly the next second. If you want to follow me, it's not impossible. Chu Jiang suddenly thought, he's different now. I have picked up so many assets myself, someone must help me take care of them. He stared at Shen Xingwei and couldn't help but ponder. Isn't this just a ready-made talent? A PhD in management from Stanford University in the United States, and he is still so young, he can definitely be considered a talent. Let her be my private butler. Chu Jiang couldn't help but have this idea in his mind. He used to read novels, and those protagonist subordinates were all talented. At least I am also bound to the system, and in this world, it is definitely the protagonist setting. In the future, there won't be many talented and extraordinary people under my command, so I can't justify it. I happen to lack a private butler right now, why don't you become my private butler? Upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, Shen Xingwei looked at him and said, You asked me, a management PhD from Stanford University, to be your butler. What do you think? Why, can't we? Chu Jiang chuckled and said, I only kept you as a butler because you are a PhD student at Stanford University. Otherwise, do you think you could have this opportunity? The momentum of Chu Jiang suddenly emerged. The pickup system is his confidence, after all, he is not an ordinary person now. He now has 7 or 8 billion yuan in cash alone, not to mention a bunch of luxury homes and cars. Men, as long as they have money in their hands, their confidence naturally becomes hard. It's not impossible to be your butler. How much weekly salary are you planning to offer me? Weekly salary. Of course it's a weekly salary. I'm in the United States. Stop, this is Huaguo. Chu Jiang raised his lips and said with a light smile, all right, let's try it out for 3 months first. If it's qualified, we'll talk about it later. Shen Xingwei looked at Chu Jiang in silence. What's going on? If you're not willing, then forget it. I don't insist on you being my private butler, I'll go back and forth from where I came from. Chu Jiang chuckled and sat on the sofa, crossing his legs. Capitalists will cry when they see you. Shen Xingwei looked at Chu Jiang and bit her lip with hatred, saying. If you don't want to, forget it. The initiative lies with Chu Jiang, anyway it's Shen Xingwei who relies on her first. Upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, Shen Xingwei felt a bit confused. However, she didn't hesitate and immediately agreed, sure, I agree. Although Shen Xingwei only had contact with Chu Jiang, she also noticed from the slightest that Chu Jiang was different from ordinary people. Also, how could someone who could wear Richard Miller, worth 20 million yuan, on their wrist be an ordinary person? Shen Xingwei believes in her own judgment, she will definitely not be mistaken. Moreover, speaking of it, Chu Jiang did indeed save her last night. If something indescribable had happened, as Chu Jiang said, she probably wouldn't have the courage to live in this world anymore. Can you put on your clothes first? Shen Xingwei looked at Chu Jiang naked and blushed as she said. Women, it's just trouble. Chu Jiang let out a shout and picked up his clothes and put them on directly. Hurry up, let's go eat first, and then I'll take you to my place. You should familiarize yourself with the work environment first, and you still have a lot of things to do later. Okay, young master. Shen Xingwei got off the bed and responded with a charming look as she looked at Chu Jiang. It's really different to make a woman like Shen Xingwei call herself a young master. I didn't expect you to be quite good at it. Chu Jiang stared at Shen Xingwei, who had a graceful figure, and couldn't help but smile and say. Xingwei won't disappoint you, young master. Shen Xingwei pursed her lips, her eyes still filled with tears, looking somewhat charming. But Chu Jiang understood that women like Shen Xingwei were not that simple. Hurry up, I'm hungry. Speaking, Chu Jiang walked out of the room with his back on his back. I didn't see Qin Fan and Wang Tsong when I came out of the hotel. However, it's also true that I tossed around so late last night, probably still sleeping at this time. Rich second generation, life is like this. Sleep during the day and move around at night. Chu Jiang has only just come into contact with this circle, but he doesn't want to be like them. After all, at a young age, one's body is worn out, and as one gets older, it's too late to regret it. I took Shen Xingwei to a nearby restaurant for lunch, and then I took her to the parking lot near the bar. Lamborghini Bull, the landing price is tens of millions. Young master, you really have money. After seeing Chu Jiang's car, Shen Xingwei became even more determined in her thoughts. Rented. Chu Jiang casually said something. Shen Xingwei was stunned for a moment and whispered softly, who are you lying to? Chu Jiang picked up 2 villas worth over 300 million yuan last night, one on the Tangong side and one on the east suburb number 1 courtyard side. If you don't live in a villa, there's a problem with your mind. Chu Jiang can't wait to see his villa now. As the top luxury mansion in the Magic City, Tan Palace is well known to Chu Jiang as an outsider who has lived there for so many years. The Tan Palace villa, with an average price of 30,000 square meters, was placed before. Even if Chu Jiang had dreamed, he wouldn't dare to live here one day. But now, when Chu Jiang brought Shen Xingwei to the entrance of Tangong Villa, not only Chu Jiang was a bit stunned, but also Shen Xingwei was also stunned. Is this the Tangong Villa area? Is there any problem? Young master, do you live here? Rented. Between questioning and answering, Shen Xingwei was completely dumbfounded. Rented, how could it be rented? She couldn't help but glance at Chu Jiang, but now she is even more curious about his identity. This is Tan Palace. The top villa area in the entire Magic City, the price of any villa is calculated in billions. In the vast garden of 48,000 square meters, only 18 detached villas are located, and the average price of each villa can easily exceed 9 figures. Those who can buy villas here are either wealthy or expensive. Rented. Not to mention whether it is affordable to rent such a villa, the key is that none of the homeowners lack money. How could they possibly rent out their villa? What Chu Jiang said, Shen Xingwei doesn't even believe a single punctuation mark. The villa in Chujiang is the 9th villa in Tangong, occupying the best geographical location. The building area is 1,200 square meters, with a selling price of 360 million yuan and an average price of 300,000 yuan per square meter. Attached is a large private garden with an outdoor private swimming pool, and of course, there is also a small indoor swimming pool. Looking at the villa in front of him, Chu Jiang couldn't help but sigh, rich people are really amazing and can enjoy life. Who wouldn't like such a villa? Shen Xingwei also really likes the villa in front of her. Being able to live here, even if I were a butler, I would recognize it. Shen Xingwei couldn't help but think so in her heart. She instinctively glanced at Chu Jiang. To be honest, she had always thought that Chu Jiang was the kind of wealthy second generation, but now she realized that she still underestimated Chu Jiang's identity and background. Kailan Bakaini Bull, having a villa in Tangong would be worth billions even if you think about it less. After all, this villa alone won't cost hundreds of millions. People who can spend billions to buy villas are simply impossible without billions of assets. Of course, these were all estimated by Shen Xingwei herself, so she naturally couldn't know how much money Chu Jiang really had. Anyway, she looked at Chu Jiang, who was about her age, and said in her heart that it was impossible not to envy him. But reincarnation is a technical job that cannot be envied. The villas in Tangong are all luxurious decorations gifted by developers. After all, with a villa worth 360 million yuan, if you were just a rough house, it wouldn't make sense. Of course, people who can buy such villas don't care about these things either. Sometimes they even demolish the decoration and renovate it according to their own preferences. I have bought several billion yuan worth of villas, so I definitely don't mind spending a little more money on decoration. Chu Jiang is quite satisfied with this villa. After all, compared to my previous living environment, this villa is simply not too luxurious. Take Shen Xingwei and take the whole villa for a walk. It takes over half an hour just to walk around such a large villa. Returning to the living room, Chu Jiang sat on the sofa, lit a huazi, and then comfortably exhaled a cigarette ring. Comfortable. Chu Jiang couldn't help but sigh and looked at Shen Xingwei standing beside him. He smiled and said, "Our family is so big that we need to recruit some nannies and servants to come back. By the way, the chef also needs to. You see the arrangements." Chu Jiang recalled the legendary novel he had read before, where the protagonist, after being wealthy, paid a lot of people to serve him. When I was reading novels, I envied him very much. Now that he has this ability, he naturally wants to spend money to find a bunch of people to serve him. However, since Shen Xingwei is now his personal butler, he will directly entrust this matter to Shen Xingwei for full handling. Shen Xingwei agreed directly. If Chu Jiang were to handle such a small matter himself, it would be her dereliction of duty as a private butler. Take a look at what's missing at home, daily necessities, and be prepared to order. Chu Jiang looked at Shen Xingwei and said whatever came to his mind. Shen Xingwei has great potential to become a private butler. Whenever Chu Jiang says something, she nods and silently notes it down in her heart. "Give me an account, I'll give you some money." "Okay." Shen Xingwei directly sent her bank account to Chu Jiang, and in no time, she received the bank's arrival information. 10 million. Upon seeing the SMS reminder of the bank's receipt, Shen Xingwei's body trembled slightly. She didn't expect Chu Jiang to directly transfer 10 million yuan to her. "Young master, are you not afraid that I will run away with your money?" Shen Xingwei couldn't help but ask Chu Jiang a question. Although she is currently the private butler of Chu Jiang, she has not known Chu Jiang for more than a day. If she really runs away with this money, it won't be easy for Chu Jiang to find her for a while. "You are a smart person who knows what to do and what not to do." Chu Jiang chuckled and said, "Besides, my money is not that easy to get. If you really run away, I have 10,000 ways to find you." Chu Jiang's words inevitably contain a sense of intimidation. But to Shen Xingwei, who was not clear about Chu Jiang's true identity and background, it seemed that Chu Jiang really had such energy. "Don't worry, young master. Stay by your side as a butler, I can get more." As Chu Jiang said, Shen Xingwei is not foolish. Is it over 10 million? For an ordinary person, there are indeed many. But for the current Chu River, 10 million is just a drop in the bucket. After seeing some of Chu Jiang's strength, Shen Xingwei became increasingly eager to do a good job as Chu Jiang's private butler. As the old saying goes, she is a seventh-rank official in front of the Prime Minister's door. As a private butler, she has a great deal of power in this villa. And after some contact with Chu Jiang, Shen Xingwei felt that apart from occasionally showing an LSP-like smile, everything else in person was very good. Chapter 9. You picked up a pair of Emperor Green bracelets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If Chu Jiang knew that Shen Xingwei was thinking about LSP behind his back, I don't know what he would think. Look at the flowers with this money, your young master. I'm ready to enjoy life. When buying things, remember one thing. Only buy expensive ones. Shen Xingwei didn't know how to answer what was said. A good second-generation wealthy person, how does it sound like it's full of explosive flavor? Shen Xingwei didn't know that Chu Jiang was not just a nouveau riche, but also someone who became wealthy overnight. However, from Chu Jiang's words, Shen Xingwei also figured out some of Chu Jiang's personality traits. She nodded and smiled slightly, saying, "Got it, young master." Chu Jiang hummed and was about to say something more when his phone rang. After checking the caller ID, it turned out to be Wang Song calling. "Song, what's up? Chu, why did you leave? Wake up early, come out for a bite of food and then go back." Chu Jiang smiled and said. "By the way, brother Chu, do you have time later? Let me take you to a good place." "A good place?" Chu Jiang is fine, he doesn't have to worry about money now, he can just lie flat. Upon hearing Wang Song say he wanted to take him to a good place, Chu Jiang immediately became interested. The good place that Wang Song said is really a good place, at least it is not accessible to ordinary people. Have you heard of Yongfu Palace? Yongfu Palace. The first private guild hall of the Magic City. Not to mention it, Chu Jiang had heard of it before. Well, it's quite lively over there today. Qin Fan and I are going over to join in the fun. How about it, brother Chu? Do you want to come together? Wang Song invited, and Chu Jiang naturally readily accepted it. Mainly because Wang Song just said that it was quite lively over there today. A lively atmosphere indicates a large number of people. With so many people, Chu Jiang can pick up a bunch of good things again. Okay, I'll send you a location, and we'll meet at the entrance of Yongfu Palace later. Hang up the phone, and Wang Song immediately sent the location of Yongfu Palace to Chu Jiang. Well, I'm going out for a trip. You can watch and arrange it yourself. Watching Chu Jiang hurriedly leave after answering a phone call, Shen Xingwei was also stunned. Song Gu. Yongfu Palace. The first private guild hall of the Magic City. Shen Xingwei couldn't help but frown as she concatenated some of the information she had just heard. Brother Song, shouldn't it be Wang Kong? Shen Xingwei muttered to herself. After all, Chu Jiang is worth at least a few billion yuan, and there aren't really many who can make him call him brother, right? Apart from Wang Song, she really doesn't know who else in China has a name with intelligence. Watching Chu Jiang drive away from the villa, Shen Xingwei is also preparing to start her work. Yongfu Palace is located in the western suburbs of the demon capital, although it is somewhat remote, the environment is indeed much better. Moreover, as the first private guild hall in the demon capital, the predecessor of Yongfu Palace was the imperial palace of the Qin dynasty, and the level of luxury is self-evident. Covering an area of over 600 acres, in this land of every inch and every inch of gold, just these 600 acres of land alone cost billions. As for its historical value, the entire Yongfu Palace would be worth at least hundreds of billions or even more. The former imperial palace, now used to provide leisure and entertainment for wealthy people in the demon capital, is indeed quite attractive. There is a large parking lot near Yongfu Palace, which is already filled with luxury cars. Don't be fooled by the fact that the Lamborghini that Chu Jiang is driving has a landed price of tens of millions, it is still considered a reliable luxury car. But parking in this parking lot is really nothing. Millions of luxury cars are everywhere, and the Lamborghini Bull is not at all prominent among these luxury cars. There are really many wealthy people in the Magic City. Chu Jiang couldn't help but sigh. However, his emotions haven't changed much. If the Lamborghini Bull is nothing, then his Lamborghini Poison is different. The entire country of China cannot find 3 Lamborghini Poisons. After all, there are only 14 units globally, and the price has been hyped up to over 120 million on the black market. There is a price but no market. If a car owner were to auction off the Poison, the price would definitely not be lower than this price. Some things cannot be bought with money. There are so many wealthy tycoons around the world who not only have a lot of money, but also have their own status and status. The saying that Lamborghini Poison is not even on the market for sale is that it is basically ordered directly by those wealthy tycoons. Although there are many wealthy individuals in China, they still have some shortcomings compared to those wealthy tycoons abroad. Of course, there are still many hidden tycoons in China, and they can never showcase their strength on stage. After all, some families in China have been passed down for thousands of years, and the background behind them is quite terrifying. Just like this Yongfu Palace Guild Hall, no one knows who the big boss is here, but everyone knows that this is definitely an unworthy existence. When Chu Jiang came out of the parking lot and walked to the entrance of Yongfu Palace, Wang Tsong and Qin Fan were already standing there waiting for Chu Jiang to come. There are still 3 young people standing beside them, and it goes without saying that those who can appear here must be the wealthy second generation. They were not there last night, so they didn't know Chu Jiang either. But they can be considered as the attendants of Wang Tsong and Qin Fan. Wang Tsong and Qin Fan are both standing here waiting for Chu Jiang to come over. They shouldn't even refuse this face, right? Tsong Gu, Qin Gu, it's really a sin to keep the brothers waiting. Chu Jiang stepped forward and said a polite sentence, but he still understood the rules. Furthermore, Wang Tsong and the others were already much older than Chu Jiang, so it's reasonable to call them brother. Chu, let me introduce you to this person, Zhou Yang. His family sells jewelry, and Zhou Xingtang is his family's property. This, Fang Jun, his family specializes in imported luxury cars. As long as the money is in place, even Lamborghini Poison is not a problem. This, Xia Guangyu, his family is also developing real estate. 1/3 of the luxury houses in the Magic City are developed by their family. If Brother Chu wants to invest in real estate in the future, he needs to be more familiar with him. After some introduction, Chu Jiang actually got to know the 3 of them. Chu Jiang shook hands with them, and after getting to know each other, he saw several transparent small balls around them. It's great. Chu River appears calm on the surface, but in his heart, he is also extremely excited. After picking up those transparent balls one by one, Chu Jiang was also quite satisfied. After all, I just arrived and picked up such a generous reward. Wang Tsong said, it's very lively here today. If I were to meet a few wealthy second generation people later, it would be really great. As Chu Jiang picked up those transparent balls, the system prompt sound kept ringing in his mind. You have picked up 30 million yuan in cash. You have collected 40 million yuan in cash. You have picked up a set of Tang Chen's first-grade large flat layers. You have picked up 1 Konisegg yuan. You have picked up a pair of Emperor green bracelets. Before Chu Jiang could even check how many good items he had picked up nearly 2 billion in cash alone. As for luxury cars and mansions, Chu Jiang really doesn't care so much now. After all, he now has 300 sets of school district houses in his hands alone. There are also 2 villas worth over 300 million yuan. There are countless luxury cars, and of course, when Chu Jiang heard that he had actually picked up a Konisegg one, he was still very happy. A pair of imperial green bracelets. But for my mom and sister, 1 for each. When Chu Jiang heard that he had picked up a pair of imperial green bracelets, he couldn't help but think of it in his heart. Following Wang Song and the others into Yongfu Palace, Chu Jiang finally saw what a top-level private guild hall is. This is almost a replica of the Imperial Palace Museum. You should know that even the Forbidden City, the imperial capital, covers an area of 720,000 square meters, approximately 1080 acres. And here, the former Imperial Palace, although not as large as the Forbidden City, still has an area of over 600 acres. As for the buildings inside, many of them are actually 1.2.1 replicas of the Forbidden City. In order to allow members to better appreciate their noble status, all staff members of Yongfu Palace wear the attire of ancient palace maids and eunuchs. Be good, today was really a small knife tugging at your butt. You opened your eyes. Chu Jiang couldn't help but be shocked in his heart. He had just arrived from his own Tangong villa, and he felt that he could be considered someone with a top-notch villa, which would broaden his horizons. But now, if it weren't for Wang Song and the others here, Chu Jiang's expression would probably have been calm long ago. This Yongfu Palace truly deserves to be the first private guild hall in the demon capital. Just this imperial palace, perhaps no private guild hall can match it, right? Chu Jiang looked at Wang Song and Qin Fan and said, "That's nature." Wang Song also nodded in agreement. "This is a private club, ordinary people can't even enter," Wang Song chuckled and said, "If you want to come here to play, you must first become a member of their club. And their entry threshold here is very high. To become a member, the first step is to verify their capital, and they need to have at least 1 billion yuan in wealth." Upon hearing Wang Song's words, Chu Jiang couldn't help but be shocked. Although he is already very wealthy now, with cash in his hands almost approaching 1 billion yuan, he still finds it a bit unbelievable to hear Wang Song say that becoming a member of a guild requires 1 billion yuan. This is really not the same as people's joys and sorrows. 10 billion. Even if an ordinary person works hard for a lifetime, it is impossible for them to earn so much money. But here, the lowest value for any member is also this number. How about it, Brother Chu, you're shocked? Wang Song chuckled and said, "But I don't come often, mainly Qin Fan. How much money can you guess I can spend here all year round?" "How much is it?" Chu Jiang instinctively asked a question. Last year, it seemed like he spent 1 billion. 10 billion. So much. Upon hearing the minimum consumption of 1 billion yuan, even if Chu Jiang had previously remained calm, he couldn't hold back at this moment. "I prefer playing gambling stones. There happens to be a gambling stone field here, so the cost here is relatively high." Qin Fan stood aside and explained, "As for gambling stones, there are gains and losses. Although I spent 10 billion yuan here last year, gambling stones allowed me to earn over 2 billion yuan. Qin Fan said so, and Chu Jiang understood. Speaking of gambling stones, Qin Fan said excitedly, "Today is so lively, mainly because there is a batch of raw stones coming from the north of Myanmar, and many people come to join the fun as soon as they receive the news." Chu Jiang knows about gambling stones, but he has never played them in real life. One knife is poor, one knife is rich, and one knife is covered in linen. This sentence is about gambling stones. Ordinary people gamble with stones to get rich overnight, but these second-generation wealthy gamblers are completely pursuing excitement. And if you're lucky, you can really make a lot of money. Just like Qin Fan, who spends 1 billion yuan a year on buying stones, he can still earn 2 billion yuan in the end. Although Chu Jiang doesn't understand gambling stones, since he has come, it's okay to take a look. The group walked straight towards the gambling rink. Not to mention, this place is really lively. On a square of about 3,000 square meters, there are actually hundreds of gambling stone stalls. There are really many people coming to join the fun, and at first glance, it is estimated that there are at least a few hundred people. As a member, you can bring your family over to play. Today, it's so lively here that many people come to play with their families. Wang Song saw that Chu Jiang had doubts on his face, and naturally knew what he was thinking. He quickly explained. I see. Chu Jiang nodded and murmured a sentence. How about it, brother Chu? Do you want to play it too? Novices' luck is usually very good, maybe they'll get cut up. Qin Fan looked at Chu Jiang excitedly and said. Brother Chu, don't listen to Qin Fan's blind deception. How could it be so easy to say, cut up, and, cut up, dot. Wang Tsong also smiled and reminded Chu Jiang. Chapter 10, Brother Chu, this sentence from you is enough. I believe you. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Wang Tsong doesn't like playing gambling stones. Mainly, his luck was not very good. He had spent several million to buy 2 pieces of stone here before, but they all collapsed. The kind of stone that just floated in the water was so angry that he swore never to play with this thing again. However, Qin Fan is never tired of gambling with stones. Qin Fan has been playing for a long time, and he has also figured out some tricks himself. And his pocket money is much more than Wang Tsong's. For him, hundreds or even millions of dollars are not worth a penny. Chu Jiang had only heard of gambling stones before and had never come into contact with them in real life. For Chu Jiang, gambling stones are a novelty. Since they have arrived, playing with them is no harm. Today's stones are all from the north of Myanmar, which has indeed attracted many wealthy people to come. Chu Jiang followed Wang Tsong and his companions, looking around and seeing the stones of all sizes, only feeling new. Small stones like this, don't play with them. They don't have much fun. Even if they turn green, there won't be much material and they won't be worth a few dollars. When it comes to gambling stones, Qin Fan started talking about them with great enthusiasm. This kind of old pit material is good, and the price is generally relatively high. Qin Fan pointed to a well-looking stone in front of him and said. Chu Jiang looked at the price of the stones and had to say that this gambling stone was not something that ordinary people could afford. The price of half a person high stone is actually marked at 30 million yuan, and this is the bottom price. This is a bidding form, and the one with the higher price will get it. This broken stone costs 30 million yuan, I went crazy to buy it. Wang Tsong doesn't play gambling stones very much, so he can't understand either. Song Gu, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. Qin Fan was unhappy and glanced at Wang Kong. This is the material from the old pit. Judging from its appearance, 80.9% of it can produce green. Is this large material selling for over 30 million yuan? Chu Jiang couldn't understand and naturally didn't answer. But he also stood on the side and observed carefully. The stalls here are all made of larger materials, and the price of any piece of stone is in the millions. This price is not affordable for most wealthy people. Of course, there are so many billionaires coming over today, and there are also many with a net worth of over 1 billion. Soon, the stalls here were crowded with people. Wang Tsong and Qin Fan, after all, are the top rich and young, and everyone we know here also came to greet them. Furthermore, Wang Tsong and the others also introduced Chu Jiang to them. In the process of shaking hands and getting to know each other, Chu Jiang actually made a lot of money. There are at least 50 or 60 transparent balls floating around, and Chu Jiang quietly picks them all up into the system space. You have picked up 10 million yuan in cash. You have picked up 30 million yuan in cash. You have picked up a set of Tang Chen's first-grade large flat layers. You have picked up a pair of golden pupils. Although Chu Jiang didn't carefully check how many good things he had picked up, there was still a system prompt sound. When Chu Jiang heard that he had picked up a pair of golden pupils, he was also stunned for a moment. Golden pupils. What kind of ghost? After obtaining the system, Chu Jiang picked up hundreds of transparent balls, either in cash or in luxury cars and mansions. Now, when suddenly prompted to pick up the golden pupils, Chu Jiang couldn't help but be stunned. Directly finding the newly picked golden pupil from the system space, after some understanding, Chu Jiang was shocked. Isn't this just perspective? Chu Jiang, who has read thousands of novels, understood it immediately. The so-called golden pupils are not just perspective. Extract. The golden pupils with perspective function are simply perfect for this occasion. According to the system's introduction to golden pupils, Chu Jiang also knows the method of using golden pupils. As long as he gazes at an object for 3 seconds, his golden pupils can open and he can see inside through the surface of the object. Yo, isn't this Shenhao? A piercing sound reached Chu Jiang's ears. He looked up and saw that the person dressed in flashy attire, accompanied by 7 or 8 dog legs, all dressed in flashy attire. Shenhao, your little girlfriend's figure is really good. By the way, her place is really tight. The person who came here was very arrogant, and he looked at Qin Fan and said a few words happily. The expression on Qin Fan's face immediately became unnatural. Sun Yuantao, you really shouldn't cause trouble. Wang Song also stood up and cursed the person who came by name. He, Song Xiao, don't pretend to be with me here. What kind of onion are you with me? Sun Yuantao was very crazy and didn't even pay attention to Qin Fan and Wang Kong. The atmosphere became very tense for a moment, and Chu Jiang couldn't help but frown. Chu Jiang instinctively disliked the arrogant wealthy second generation in front of him. If you have any personal grievances, go out and solve them privately. This is Yongfu Palace. Just as both sides were drawing swords and crossbows, a crisp sound like a silver bell came over. With the sound of both sides about to fight, everyone on both sides calmed down. Sun Yuantao, who was originally very arrogant, immediately gave in, and as for Qin Fan and Wang Song, they also calmed down. Chu Jiang looked in the direction where the sound came from without knowing why. A woman with a graceful figure and a tight qipao walked over. Very attractive. Extremely elegant. Tao Jie. Seeing the newcomers, whether it was Wang Song or Sun Yuantao, their aura suddenly subsided. When the woman walked over, everyone also shouted Tao Jie. Chu Jiang is here for the first time, so he naturally doesn't know who this woman is. But those who can scare Wang Song and his team with just one sentence are definitely not ordinary people. Tao Jie. When the woman walked up to Chu Jiang's side, he also softly called out Tao Jie. New here, I haven't seen it before. Sister Tao looked at Chu Jiang with a slight smile on her lips and asked, it's my first time coming over here to play. Chu Jiang is not sure who she is, so naturally speaking without any pressure. Tao nodded, stared at Chu Jiang again, and then walked between Qin Fan and Sun Yuantao. I don't care about any personal grudges between you, but this is Yongfu Palace. If you want to cause trouble here, don't blame me for throwing you out. As soon as Tao finished speaking, Sun Yuantao quickly smiled and said, Tao, how dare I cause trouble in Yongfu Palace? Just no. Sister Tao snorted coldly. She knew exactly what Sun Yuantao was. Qin Fan also lowered his head and came to Tao Jie's side. Tao Jie, don't worry, we all understand your rules. Tao Jie nodded as she looked at Qin Fan, but didn't say much. Until Tao Jie left with her people, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Chu Jiang is fine. Although he thinks Tao Jie has a strong aura, he's not scared enough to make these wealthy second-generation people speechless, is he? Song Gu, who is Miss Tao? Chu Jiang was also curious about Tao Jie's identity. After seeing Tao Jie walking away, he also approached Wang Song and whispered a question. Brother Chu, please don't provoke Miss Tao, otherwise no one can protect you. Wang Song frowned and said solemnly. Before, there was a young master from a noble family from the imperial capital who came to Yongfu Palace to play. At that time, he teased him in his words, but guess what happened? Wang Song looked at Chu Jiang and asked in reverse. What's wrong? Chu Jiang asked curiously. That young master from a prestigious family was eventually cut off and thrown directly to Southeast Asia as a beggar. Hush. Chu Jiang couldn't help but take a cold breath after listening. The young master of a noble family in the imperial capital. Does his family care? Chu Jiang couldn't help but be curious and asked an extra question. They dare. Wang Tsong couldn't help but sneer and said, whether it's a young master from a noble family or the whole family, they still have a clear understanding. If Wang Tsong said so, Chu Jiang understood. And that is also one of the 8 major families in the imperial capital. Qin Fan smiled bitterly and said, don't be fooled by the wealth and power of us people. Some people cannot be offended. Qin Fan's words were naturally correct, and Chu Jiang nodded without hesitation. The whole human society is like this. The law of the jungle, only the strong are worthy of standing and speaking. Who is that Sun Yuantao? Chu Jiang glanced at Sun Yuantao standing not far away and whispered a question. Mad, that grandson. That's not a big deal. Their family is in the mining industry and their business is spread all over the world, but others' quality is extremely poor. Qin Fan gritted his teeth and said. Just now, Chu Jiang heard what Sun Yuantao said and also knew that Qin Fan had a conflict with him. If it weren't for Taojia's sudden appearance, there might have really been a fight. After this little incident just now, Sun Yuantao has temporarily become more honest. However, when Qin Fan had just offered 20 million yuan to buy the stone he was interested in, Sun Yuantao leaned in and said to the stall owner, I'll offer 30 million yuan. What Qin Shao is interested in must be a good thing. When Sun Yuantao saw Qin Fan's offer, he directly increased the price by 10 million to cut off the beard. Qin Fan frowned and couldn't help but bite his teeth as he looked at the nauseating Sun Yuantao. 35 million. I want it. 40 million. Qin Fan raised the price to 35 million yuan, but Sun Yuantao didn't even blink his eyes and went straight to 40 million yuan. Firstly, he has plenty of money and doesn't care about these tens of millions. Secondly, he wants to discuss Qin Fan. Sanlai, Qin Fan has some skills in playing gambling stones, and he knows this. Since Qin Fan is optimistic about it, he probably won't lose out no matter what. Of course, Qin Fan's title as the Shanghai Emperor was not for nothing. When he saw Sun Yuantao raising the price directly to 40 million, he immediately called it 45 million. Everyone around was in an uproar. The price of 20 million yuan of stone has been bid up to 45 million yuan. If it turns green, it's okay. If it collapses, it's really a huge loss. When Sun Yuantao heard Qin Fan's direct offer of 45 million yuan, he hesitated for a moment. Qin Fan mocked him directly and said, if you don't have money, don't pretend to be pressured with me here, what kind of thing? Qin Fan's words directly angered Sun Yuantao. It's just a few tens of millions, just a little bit of money. I'll pay 50 million. Sun Yuantao is indeed a person who is not short of money. Although 50 million is not a small amount, it is not a big deal for him. Of course, 50 million is not much for Qin Fan either. Upon hearing Sun Yuantao's direct offer of 50 million yuan, he did not hesitate. Just as he was about to make another offer, he was stopped by Chu Jiang. Qin, let's just forget about it. Since Sun Shao likes it, let's give it to him. Chu Jiang signaled to Qin Fan, and although Qin Fan didn't understand what Chu Jiang meant, he hesitated for a moment. This little brother still has vision, Sun Yuantao looked at Chu Jiang and couldn't help but burst out laughing. What's wrong, Qin Shao, is that okay? Qin Fan couldn't help but frown when he saw Sun Yuantao's mischievous face, but Chu Jiang stood up and said, we don't want it anymore. This stone belongs to Sun Xiaoyu. Qin Fan had a dark face and couldn't understand Chu Jiang. He can afford this little money, so he doesn't want it now. Isn't that fueling others' arrogance? Brother Chu, are you here? Qin, just keep an eye on it. Chu Jiang raised his mouth slightly and looked at Sun Yuantao, saying, congratulations to Sun Shao. With such a large stone, why don't Sun Shao just open it here so that we can see what good things can be made from 50 million stones? Chu Jiang, who had just obtained the golden pupils, also directly examined this stone material with the golden pupils. There is green, but not much. And the texture of jade is not very good, with a long crack on it. This kind of stone is not worth even 1 million, let alone 20 million. Chu Jiang couldn't help but mutter to himself. By the time he regained his senses, Qin Fan had already offered 45 million yuan. Fortunately, Sun Yuantao was angered by Qin Fan's words and directly offered 50 million yuan. Otherwise, if Qin Fan really spent 45 million yuan to buy this back, it would be like losing both his wife and soldiers. Seeing Qin Fan's intention to make a bid, Chu Jiang quickly stepped forward to stop it. Upon hearing Chu Jiang's words, Sun Yuantao also chuckled and said, Qin Shao, your friend is a bit interesting, Sun Yuantao's words were purely disgusting to Qin Fan, and Qin Fan couldn't help but stiffen his face upon hearing them. Boss, give it to me. I want Qin Shao to appreciate it. Sun Yuantao wanted to discuss Qin Fan. If this stone could turn green, doubling it would not be a big problem. Half a person tall stone is directly fed into the stone breaking machine, surrounded by people. 50 million yuan of material, the quality looks very good. If it can turn green, it still has a value of billions. Why is Qin Shao so timid? Who knows the young man next to him? I haven't seen him before. I don't know, I haven't seen it before. If it turns green, hee. Qin Fan's face was also very unpleasant. He looked at Chu Jiang and couldn't help but frown. Chu, what's the situation with you? Qin Gu, just take a look. This material is broken. Chu Jiang didn't bother anymore, he just told Qin Fan that this stone will definitely collapse when cut out. The quality of this old pit's material looks very good, and it should be able to turn green. To be honest, the probability of collapse is really not high. Qin Fan's tone was also a bit awkward. To be honest, he was still a bit angry about Chu Jiang blocking his bid. Qin, how about this? Let's make a bet. If this stone rises, I'll compensate you as much as it sells. If it collapses, how about you give me one of the stones in the gambling arena? Chu Jiang said so, and Qin Fan couldn't help but feel a little moved. Wang Tsong and several other wealthy second-generation people couldn't help but stare at Chu Jiang for a moment. They don't understand very well. Where did Chu Jiang come from? He confidently said that this stone will definitely collapse. However, it has to be said that Chu Jiang is very good at being a person and doing things. For Qin Fan, there is absolutely no loss in this gambling game. If the stone cuts up, you can still make a big profit. If it really collapses, then it's not a loss. After all, if you really have to spend 50 to 60 million to buy a piece of broken material, that's really a big loss. Chu, that's enough with your words. I believe you. Qin Fan originally blamed Chu Jiang to some extent, but when he heard Chu Jiang say so, he was also relieved and looked at him with emotion, saying, if this stone material really collapses, Chu brother, all the stones in the entire gambling arena, which one do you like? I'll pay for it. P.S. New book for newcomers, with a 5,000-word chapter. To generate power for love, I hope all readers can give me a free little gift. Your effortless gesture can make me eat Rujiamo. Here, I would like to kneel and thank all the readers greatly.